This is Orlando Sentinel Now.
Hello, it's Wednesday, September 15th. Rich Pope here with Leslie Postal, Matt Palm, and Mike Lafferty. They have our topics we're going to get to today. And today we're going to talk about the changes in testing in schools in Florida. Also, we're going to find out about Dr. Phillips Center in the post-COVID world, what they're doing, and also a frivolous lawsuit includes a Grim Reaper. We're going to find out what that's about as well. But we're going to start here with Leslie Postal. So a change in testing here in Florida, the FSA assessment testing is going away. What does this mean for students?
Well, it could be a potentially big change. I mean, not all testing is going away, and there are still many, many questions. But the governor did announce yesterday that he wants to do away with the FSA, which is the series of standardized tests that kids in third grade through high school take every spring. Many of them also take makeup exams in the fall or winter if they don't pass key ones. Instead of those, he wants sort of small mini tests that educators call progress monitoring tests, that kind of do check-ins but aren't a big, long end-of-the-year exam.
This announcement today is going to be move us in a direction. Yes, we're going to continue to make sure that we're measuring results, having high standards, but we're going to do it in a way that's more student-friendly, parent-friendly, and teacher-friendly. There's going to be more feedback. There's going to be more individualized assessments that are going to be possible, and there's going to be an ability to be able to rectify some of the problems in ways that if you're not using progress monitoring, you're just relying on the FSA, the ship sails by the time they take that exam. And so.
Yeah, testing, a long debate in the state since it's been implemented. What is the change with this one? Why now?
DeSantis says what a lot of educators have said, that, one test at the end of the year, well, and the state gives a lot of them, takes up a lot of time. Schools kind of shut down as they manage testing, particularly at the high school level. They're giving tons of exams. A lot of them are on computers, so they need to work kids through a computer lab. And a lot of classes just ended up getting put on hold while everybody's doing testing. The tests also don't usually come back until the summer, so they don't really provide teachers with information that they could use to help a struggling student. Now, of course, teachers would say they know which of their students are struggling anyway, but it doesn't provide real-time information, so that's another concern. And it's very high stakes, and a lot of people don't like that either. So I think all of those combined played into it.
Yeah, so what have reactions been? Are good reactions, bad reactions?
I'd say really mixed. I mean, a lot of people, including the Florida Teachers Union, were pretty happy, feeling like, this was definitely a step in the right direction, that they've long said, like we just said, testing takes up too much time. But there were also a lot of questions. Florida law ties testing to whether you move on from third grade, whether you earn a high school diploma. It's tied to school grades. It's tied to teacher evaluations. The governor and the Florida Department of Education really provided no answers to what happens to all those stakes with this new system. So I think a number of people were still like, yeah, okay, but I need to know, are you still retaining third graders based on testing? It's just a different kind of testing. So I think some people are really waiting for some more answers. But a lot of people felt like if, the whole spring wasn't focused on one test, that would be good news.
All right, well, there you go. Leslie Postal lays it out on orlandosentinel.com right now. And of course, she'll stay on this as we get more information on it. It seems like this is the early phases, and we'll find out when it starts going into process. All right, thanks for that. We're going to move forward here to Matt Palm, and Dr. Phillips Center wants to get back into theaters indoors, and they're making some moves to do that. It has to do with vaccinations and negative COVID testing. What's going on, Matt?
Well, it's going to take a little extra step coming up here to see a show at the Dr. Phillips Center. Starting October 1st, they're going to require that if you go to a show there, you're going to have to provide a negative COVID test that you've taken within the past 72 hours before arriving, and you can demonstrate that you're negative. Now, there is one loophole or one way around that, and that is if you are fully vaccinated, you will be allowed to show your vaccination card or your proof of vaccination and avoid taking the test.
As far as this taking place, you said October 1st. Have they been doing shows already, or is this like the reason why they would start doing live shows again?
They have been doing some scattered shows inside, and it's important to mention that this is only for the shows that are actually inside the building. Many people know the Front Yard Festival has been going on for months, and that is their big outdoor festival where you sit outdoors in your private box and you watch on an outdoor stage. None of this will apply to the outdoor entertainment, such as the Front Yard Festival. You can still just show up with your ticket and you'll be fine. But they really are ramping up for more major indoor shows. Some of the local arts groups who use the center, like Orlando Ballet, their season starts, they will be inside. And when Broadway comes back, which is scheduled by the beginning of November, those shows will be sold to full capacity. There's no distance seating for the Broadway tours. So you will be sitting shoulder to shoulder with people. And so they're making the requirements more stringent, I think, for that reason, that they want to make sure they want to do anything they can to minimize the spread.
So how's this work with Governor DeSantis legislation to say you cannot show proof of vaccination? Businesses cannot do this. How are they getting around that?
Well, that's the whole thing. It's all set up very cleverly, I think, so that there is no mandate that you have to show proof of vaccination. It's merely an option if you wish to not take a COVID test. We're just allowing it as a substitution. And there's no regulation that says a business can't require a negative COVID test to participate or to attend something. I mean, we know a lot of airlines, a lot of flights require a COVID test and that sort of thing. So in this case, the vaccination really is not a requirement. It's just an option if it's more convenient for you, if you've already been vaccinated, to show your proof.
So how's this process go? Obviously, you show up and you have to show your proof that you're negative, but if you don't have it, like what happens? I mean, money back? How's this work?
Well, they weren't specific about that in their announcement. I would imagine if you show up without it, you're being turned away. They have lots of ways that you can show proof of either your negative test or your vaccination status. They'll accept cards, they'll accept copies, they'll accept digital, proof on your phone or device. But the one thing that they are insisting on is the name will have to match the name on the ticket, and you'll have to have photo ID to prove that is your name and you are the person who they are checking.
Yeah, as far as organizations, this seems to be the first big one in the area theater-wise to do this. Do you think the smaller ones and other organizations will do this as well?
Well, I'm looking into that, and so far, no one is sure if that's a step that they're going to have to take. For the smaller organizations, which run on a more traditional nonprofit model, they aren't as concerned as packing their theaters. So it's easier for them to have other regulations to keep people farther apart, to do other precautions. It's only because the Dr. Phillips Center books a lot of acts that are not for profit. The Broadway tours are not for profit. Those are profit-making enterprises where they have to pack in as many people as possible, that it seems like this next step is necessary.
All right. Well, you can read about that one right now on orlandosentinel.com. Matt Palm has coverage on that one, and we'll keep an eye on that. And we're going to go here to Mike Lafferty. So we're going to talk about a frivolous lawsuit. It has to do with the Grim Reaper, Florida beaches, and something that we really should be watching, you say.
Yeah, the background is that there was an attorney from Santa Rosa County named Dan Uhlfelder who tried toward the beginning of the pandemic to file a lawsuit. He did file a lawsuit that was seeking to force Governor DeSantis to close all the beaches in Florida. If you remember at the time, that was one of the controversies then was, should people be able to go to the beach? He didn't win in circuit court, but the circuit court judge told him to go ahead and try an appeal, which he did to this first district court of appeal in the Panhandle in Tallahassee. Well, the judges there didn't look kindly on his lawsuit, and they recommended discipline, that the Florida bar investigate him and possibly discipline him. And then after he kind of vaguely criticized that decision in a newspaper article, they asked a state attorney to get involved and to investigate him for possible misconduct. So they really brought the hammer down.
Yeah, so the question this editorial right now is saying, is it too harsh? It seems like it has to do with political alignments.
We did decide it was too harsh, and the comparison we made was the Court of Appeal said that this was a frivolous lawsuit in their estimation. But we cited the fact that a local state representative from Lake County, Anthony Sabatini, who is a very new lawyer, passed the bar. He decided to start filing lawsuits against cities and counties across the state, and they were routinely getting tossed. And yet he kept filing them to the point that one judge said, hey, I'm paraphrasing here, if you keep doing this, you might get sanctioned for filing frivolous lawsuits. So he didn't stop. In fact, he even appealed a couple of them to the same court that is decided that Dan Uhlfelder's lawsuit was frivolous. But, the court just dismissed Sabatini's, and, didn't recommend him for any sort of sanctions or punishment. And by the way, I'm leaving out the sexiest part here, which is that Dan Ulfelder, who filed a lawsuit seeking to close the beaches, attempted to make his point by dressing up in a hood and a robe and a sieve. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He started walking around Florida's beaches to illustrate the point that people were in danger and might die. And he got a lot of national attention for it, which, we don't know, but could well have also irritated the appeals court judges who decided that he should be disciplined.
What is the most concerning part about this? What should people be concerned about? It seems like it's a freedom of speech issue.
Well, yeah, I mean, that really is the central point. One former state Supreme Court justice and an appeals court judge have made that point, which is that, lawyers are going to feel like they are maybe going to be in jeopardy if they bring lawsuits that challenge the governor of the state of Florida. And, that seems like a valid point to us, which is that, it seems like lawyers get away with a lot in this state, and to come down so hard on somebody who filed a lawsuit and then appealed it on the advice of a circuit court judge, to come down so hard on that person seems to send a message that, don't mess around with this governor.
All right. Well, you can read that editorial right now on OrlandoSentinel.com. Appreciate that. But that's all our topics for today. Appreciate you being with us. We're going to go ahead and push pause till tomorrow. But want to point out, if you like what we do, please go ahead and subscribe to Orlando Sentinel. Go to OrlandoSentinel.com/subscribe. Become a subscriber and support us. Appreciate that. But we'll go ahead and call it quits till tomorrow. Till next time, I'm Rich, Mike, Matt, and Leslie. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you soon.
Watch Orlando Sentinel Now live every weekday at noon on our Facebook page and on OrlandoSentinel.com.